Since I was a teenager, I always traveled and had a particular interest in camping. I was a streamer in all kinds of environments, but one camping trip would change everything completely. As I was preparing to camp on Bluestone Mountain, I packed my camera and backpack, had dinner with my family, and we talked. I remember my father telling me to grab a gun or some kind of weapon, but I was naive. I never needed weapons. He said, just to make sure you are safe alone in the woods. Plus, at night, you never know if anything can go wrong. Besides, there are wild animals, bears, wolves. You need to take care and defend yourself. His advice would haunt me later. I wished I had listened to him. The weekend slowly came. I planned to go on Saturday, stay one night, and leave on Sunday. It was Friday. I checked my gear, my backpack, food, water, etc., then packed my car. When the hour came, I drove to Bluestone Mountain. It was a 7-hour drive from my place, so I stopped to refuel my gas tank and grab coffee, beers, and some snacks for the night. I planned to stream that night. It was summer, so I thought to relax and continue my journey. One of the gas station employees, an old man in his 60s, greeted me. We had a small conversation. He asked me where I was traveling. I told him I was going camping on Bluestone Mountain and planned to stay one night. He looked at me like I was out of my mind and said, "That mountain at night, it comes alive." I looked at him and asked, "What do you mean?" He didn't explain, just smirked and said, "Anyway, good luck. May God be on your side." I said thank you and left, but in my head I thought, what the F? I was confused, but I dismissed it as a joke. I continued my way. Nearly 2 hours were left to my destination when my radio broke down for some reason. It was mixing 2 or 3 songs with some podcast. I tried everything, even resetting it, but couldn't make it work. I thought some kind of frequency messed it up, so I turned it off and connected my phone to play music. I finally arrived at Bluestone Mountain. I got my stuff from the car and checked to make sure I had all my equipment. I had a small tent, grabbed my backpack, and started to climb. The mountain was beautiful trees, flowers, a small river flowing with crystal clear water. It was almost like a dream. The air was fresh. As I continued, I saw a place where I would settle, spend the night, and make a campfire. I set up my equipment and tent, gathered some wood for the fire, and started it. I checked the clock. It was 7 p.m. and started to live stream. I engaged with my viewers, had dinner, made some jokes, and explained some stuff about my setup. That was it. Night came. It was 11 p.m. and I fell asleep, tired from all the climbing. Then I heard something, like an animal, walking around and circling my tent for about 5 minutes. I woke up, but it vanished, so I went back to sleep. At around 2 a.m., I was woken again by something circling my tent. I thought, probably an animal. 5 minutes passed, and this time it didn't vanish like before. I started to get scared. I turned on my live stream and whispered to my followers, "Guys, did you hear that?" They said, "Yeah, brother, you need to move out of there fast." One added, "Don't move if it's an animal like a bear or something." Out of fear and panic, I made a stupid decision. I shouted, "Hello, is anyone there?" 15 seconds passed, and then hands started pressing on the tent. I whispered, "WTF," unzipped the tent, and saw a man in his mid-30s to 40s. I asked, "What are you doing here all alone? What's your name?" He told me, and I gave him a couple of beers. I had my camera on, and he seemed shy. We chatted about surface stuff for a little while. He seemed odd, so after getting 2 beers, he went on his way. I returned to my tent, but decided, nah, it's over. I packed my stuff and started to go down the road toward my car. As I walked, I could hear someone following me. I turned my head back and saw a dark figure silhouetted in the shadows, following me. I shouted his name, but he didn't answer. I started walking faster, eventually reaching my car, and drove home. After that, I told my family what happened. They were relieved I was safe, and my dad said, "Told you to grab some weapon for self-defense." 2 months passed. I was at dinner with my family when my father turned on the TV. What I saw made my hair stand on end. The person who had been near my campfire, the one I had a conversation with, turned out to be a serial killer with 64 killings. Some bodies were never found, and half were teenagers. It was all over the news. Thank God I am safe. I think if it wasn't for my camera and live stream, who knows what could have happened. Since then, I never go camping ever alone, and I also bring weapons for self-defense.